All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I want to introduce myself really quick as we get started. This is going to be our Mentor Roundtable event tonight, and I am so excited to be here with all of you. This is going to be fantastic. And to introduce myself first, my name is Madeline. You can also call me Maddie. I do not have a preference, either works, so whatever you feel comfortable with or you remember is fine. And I am the NSHSS Community Development Coordinator. So I do a lot of work with our leadership groups, our collegiate council, our ambassadors, our fellows, and you'll also see me kind of moving around through other areas, our LinkedIn, other communities. We have a career center, so you'll also see me kind of permeating through those things as well. But that is me, that is my role with NSHSS. And to get things started, I just wanted to let everyone know that this event is going to be recorded. So if you do not feel comfortable having your camera on, having your likeness recorded, that is more than fine. You can keep your camera off. That is okay with everyone here. And the only part that will be recorded is our general session. And when you go into the breakout rooms, that will be completely private. So don't worry about that. But I did want to put a warning out there just to be thoughtful of all of you. And to start things off, I wanted our panelists to just introduce themselves really quick. So I'm going to ask them to just give us their 1-minute elevator pitch or shorter, just generally who you are, why you're here, what you're interested in. So I'm going to throw things first off over to Morgan.
Awesome. Thanks, Maddie. And good evening, everyone. Great to be here. My name is Morgan Vasquez, and I am the outgoing president of the NSHSS Fellows Board. I've been part of NSHSS since 2007, so have remained active for all that time, definitely believe in its mission, and really great to see some familiar faces on here of people that I've had a chance to meet with over the past several years, and really excited to connect with our fellows. My day job, or what I do for work, I'm the head of early career talent for Walmart. So my team is responsible for recruiting all college students that come into Walmart's internship programs, as well as new grads that are coming to work at Walmart corporate offices in any function from finance to technology to our e-commerce business. So really excited to be here tonight. And I am based in New York City, so nice and chilly out here. I know a few of you are in much colder or warmer climates. I know a few people that are up in the north, and then a few people that Emily is probably having a lovely day in Hawaii. So really excited to see that, and I hope to connect with all of you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Morgan. All right, I'm going to go over to Helena next.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you all. My name is Helena Kaloma. I am the NSHSS Executive Board Vice President of Member Events. I've been a member of NSHSS since about 2014, and I'm excited to be here with you all. I am a student at Harvard University. I recently transferred from UC Berkeley. My major is biochemistry, and I am currently on the pre-med track, so I can give a lot of areas of expertise in pre-med, pre-health, pre-dental, and especially being a STEM major and balancing college and such. I also have an internship with NASA right now, so I could give you all some tips on internships and scholarships as well. I'm excited to be here with you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Helena. And congrats about the NASA scholarship. I hadn't heard about that one, so good job. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to move over to Emily, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Smith, and I am the current NSHSS Collegiate Council Executive Board President. So I am from Hawaii, and I am currently a senior at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where I'm studying communications. But this fall, I will be attending USC for my master's program. So currently, I am a mentor with the Hawaii Women in Filmmaking, where I teach young women about filmmaking and essentially encourage the next voices of our next generation of female storytellers. But in addition to this, I do have experience in areas in communication and public relations for companies and the government.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. All right. And so let's move over to Laura.
Hello, everybody. I am Mordiki. I am the upcoming NSHSS Fellows President. I've been with the organization. I started as a member and then I became active after I graduated. I've participated in a couple of these mentorship roundtables as well when they were in person pre-COVID, but it's nice to be back here. In my day job, I work at a privacy policy nonprofit here in DC, and I work in operations. So I handle a lot of timelines and deadlines. So if you're interested in the nonprofit world and just how to get into the field of operations and behind the scenes, I will give you a lot of insight on that.
I love it. Thanks, Laura. All right, and now let's move it over to Jan.
Yes, hello. Pleasure to be here. So I'm Jan. I am a US trained MD, currently clinical research fellow in New York. Have about 16 years of research experience. Contributed to several anti-cancer therapies, currently in clinical trials. I'm the former director of the immunology division of the Global COVID Task Force. I led the team that produced one of the first mechanisms for COVID, COVID-flu, COVID and cancer. And then we were also amongst the first in the world to say what the treatment for COVID would be. And then that therapy got US FDA Fast Track designation on December 1st, 2020. Happy to speak to you guys about being an NSHSS member. I think I'm one of the most senior people here. I think I've been a member for about like 15 or so years, or 10 years or something along that route. So basically a pretty long time. And then anything regarding applying to college, to med school, careers after that, other careers outside of medicine, happy to chime in. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Jan. All right, and now I'm going to move over to Elgin.
Thank you. Well, greetings and humble salutations, everyone, and good evening. My name is Elgin Lake, the co-vice president of scholarship development on the Collegiate Council. I've been a part of NSHSS since about 2016, so my freshman year of high school. I'm located in Tallahassee, Florida, attending Florida A&M University as a third-year industrial engineering major. My expertise is typically within STEM, scholarships, internships, and athletics. So it's kind of well-rounded experience for any question that you might have in those areas. I'm a student athlete as well with an internship with Lockheed Martin. So me and Helena are more closely tied than she may think. So I can offer advice on areas of STEM and other mathematic topics. So I'm happy to chat with you all.
Yeah, thanks, Elgin. All right, and now let's go over to Tanya.
Thanks, Maddie. Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya Odum. I'm calling in from New York City, where I agree it is very cold, and I live near the water, so it's incredibly windy as well. So Emily, I'm very jealous, very jealous. We've been on calls before together, Emily, and I keep thinking that. So, my focus, my job, my full-time job is the Director of Equity and Inclusion at a large family foundation. And for the last 25 years, I've been working in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion and civil rights. So I could talk about philanthropy, I could talk about sort of civil rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm also a leadership coach, so that's also something that I could speak to as well. And I'm happy to be here. And I forgot the last thing, the reason I'm connected is because I'm actually a board member of the NSHSS Foundation.
Awesome, thank you so much. And for anyone who doesn't know what the NSHSS Foundation is, that is our organization that does a lot with scholarships. So that is if you have anything with that sort of questions, they are the overseeing board for that nonprofit foundation that handles our scholarships. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you so much for bringing it up. And now, last but not least, let's go over to Kristin.
Hello, everybody. Wow, what an esteemed group of panelists here. I'm very honored to be with you guys. My name is Kristin Bloom. I, like Tanya, am a board member of the foundation. I believe I've been on the foundation board for about 10 years. I've had a 35-year career in retail, CPG, high tech, predominantly at companies like Disney, Apple, PepsiCo. I don't use the word retire, but I did kind of step out of corporate life a couple years ago. And my focus these days is on a whole lot of philanthropic efforts, but I also sit on not only the foundation board for NSHSS, but also for Sprouts Farmers Market, which is a grocery chain it's regional, but a lot of folks on this call, I think in the areas you live, are probably familiar with it. And also a company called GuideWell Mutual Holding Corp, which is essentially, Elgin, you might know them, it's Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida, which is their predominant banner. So I've transitioned into the board world, and doing board work is completely different from being in the corporate world. I am definitely loving it. So I'm happy to talk to you guys about business, technology, and certainly as you get later in your life and want to transition into or considering board work, be happy to share insights on that as well. And I'm in Texas, I'm in Dallas. It should be warm here, but it is not. It is cold today. Probably not as cold as you guys in New York though.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, and you know, to me it's cold here, but I'm sure compared to New York or other places, it's very warm. But I completely understand that sentiment. All right, and thank you to all of the panelists for bearing with me for the introductions. I know they can feel weird and awkward, but thank you so much for telling us all a little bit about yourselves. That way our attendees all know a little bit about who they're chatting with. All right, and so moving forward, one of our panelists has actually prepared a mentorship 101 presentation for us. So Morgan, if you're all set with that, I would love for you to take things over and to present your thoughts.
Sure, Maddie, I'm happy to. So thank you. I figured rather than sharing slides, I just talk for 3 or 4 minutes just to get us started, because I know, especially for the students who are still virtual, I'm sure you see screens and presentations all day long, and I'm sure many of us at work see screens and presentations all day long. So I want to just tell a quick story because I think it really talks about mentoring in a few different ways. I think it talks about the importance of mentoring within your professional lives. I think it talks about the importance of NSHSS and the relationships that you can build here, and really just give some pointers going into these conversations. I think it's great that it is a pretty small group today, because I think we can have some one-on-one time. And for me, I think that's really where you start building those relationships. So I'll backtrack you to after I went to college. I went to Fordham University up in the Bronx, New York, and I was interning with JP Morgan Chase. And I had the opportunity to either continue working with JP Morgan Chase or to switch to the Bank of New York Mellon, where a former manager of mine was going to work. And I had a really difficult choice in front of me. I was very comfortable at JP Morgan, loved what I was doing, had to make the leap of faith if I was going to go to the Bank of New York. And I took a step back and said, who are some people in my life who can help me make this decision? And there was 5 people that I came up with that said, I respect and value their decisions. They are people that I consider mentors, who I emulate, who I want to be like, who I respect and I value. And out of those 5, 4 of them actually came from my relationships with NSHSS. So I think I say that just because these conversations that you're having now, you didn't just sign up for an hour to talk to somebody that you're hopefully never going to talk to again. You really signed up to find people who have similar values as you, have a connection and a passion for NSHSS, and want to see you succeed. And I still talk to those 4 people on a very, very regular basis. Tanya, I know you're friendly with quite a few of them, and they're people who really helped make the biggest decision of my career. So I start with that quick story just because I hope all of our scholars go into these conversations with open minds, not just a check the box exercise that you participated in this event and you can walk away and you spent 45 minutes talking. But when you have the opportunity to connect with all of our panelists who are great, who have really fantastic backgrounds, who are here for a reason, right? There's a lot of things people can be doing on a Wednesday evening. People had long days at work, long days at school. They have other things going on in their lives, family commitments, every other type of commitment. So really thinking about that, we're here to help you. So 3 pieces of advice for all of our members who are connecting with our panelists. 1 is go in, ask questions, be active in the conversation. Of course, if you're not comfortable, keep your cameras off, but participate in the dialogue. Ask them questions, see what's on your mind. No question's a silly question. We're here for you. So ask questions. The second piece is really think about who are those individuals that you'll meet with today that you want to connect with. I will tell you that what I've learned in mentorship is you're not going to want to stay in touch with everyone, and that's okay. Who are those people that you find that commonality with? Who are those people who you want to build a relationship? Don't feel like every single person out of the 9 of us that you meet today, you have to keep this relationship going. Find those 1 or 2 people who might have similar career paths that you're interested in, who might have similar backgrounds that you're interested in, and really think about how you can develop relationships with those people. Don't try to develop relationships with all 9 of us, because although we can have relationships to an extent, you really want to find those people who you're going to have those deep, holistic relationships with. And then the third piece is just really, when you talk in these conversations, think about how we could support you. Think about how NSHSS could support you in this journey. Make sure people are talking about their NSHSS experience. They're talking about good mentors. They're talking about mentors that they may have been assigned that didn't really work out. So think through NSHSS. There's plenty of opportunities to get involved as an NSHSS member. Of course, you know, it's a lifetime membership. So you might be 15 years old now, just got into NSHSS, trying to figure it all out. But these are the opportunities that will continue to excel you. So that's really what I wanted to mention. Just have fun, have an open dialogue. As Maddie mentioned, they're going to be private conversations. So don't feel intimidated. Don't feel embarrassed about specific circumstances. We're here because we want to help you. And I know we all look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Yeah, and I love all of the points that you brought up. And I love that you made it an informal conversation, because that is what this event is all about. That is the kind of nature of what we're doing here, is we want to have these personal connections with one another, because that at its core is what mentorship is all about. It's about finding people that you can have open and honest and truthful conversations with, that can lead to fruitful chances and opportunities. And that's truly what we want this to be tonight. And so before we go into our breakout rooms, I just wanted to have, an open conversation for any of our members here who may not have had a mentor before or been engaged in mentor relationships. To any of our panelists out there, what do you define as a good mentor relationship? What are the qualities of it? What can you expect from a mentor? Because we want to have realistic expectations when we're going into it. So would you define as a healthy and positive mentor relationship?
So I'm happy to kick it off, and then people can feel free to jump in. I would say the most important thing is active listening, right? It's about having a mentor who doesn't just hear you, but they really listen and they really try to see the full picture. And they don't have necessarily a concrete point of view, but they help you form your own point of view. So when you're asking opinions, you might be asking, what should I study in school? I don't know what to major in, or I'm having a challenge with this classroom, or I have this situation going on. Our job isn't to answer that question for you. Our role is going to be to help you see both sides and for you to make the best decision. So active listening on both ends. Mentoring, we get just as much out of it as the participants will, right? We want to hear from you. We want to learn from you. So don't feel like it's a one-way street. Mentoring is really a two-way avenue of communicating.
So wise advice that I received is there's a difference between a mentor, a coach, and a sponsor. So a mentor is everything that Morgan had described. But the difference between that and a coach is kind of just sitting there on the sidelines, kind of giving you some advice that you may or may not use. Some of it is practical, some of it isn't. But it's kind of like a lot of the time a coach has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot out of it. They're not really skin deep in there with you, helping to guide you. Now, no one is going to tell you what to do or how to do it. That's up to you to understand. It's just, as eloquently as Morgan had said, for every situation, you need to see the pros, you need to see the cons, but you need to speak to someone who has been in those shoes, been in that environment, and can really give you the pros and the cons and the global perspective of what's going to happen if you choose door A, door B, or door C. Now, a sponsor is a mentor plus. A sponsor is someone who's a mentor, but then it's someone who's willing to make the phone calls for you, willing to open the doors for you to take you to the next level as a whole. Those are very rare and very hard to find. But when you find them, hold on to them, because those are really the people who will really help to propel your career to the next frontier. So that's kind of what I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Thank you for sharing that. I like that analogy that you came up with in that conversation between the differences. And I thought I saw someone else unmute. I'm sorry if I cut you off. Did anyone else have any points they wanted to make?
I was just going to say that I think, this is National Mentoring Month. So we're going to see a lot out there on LinkedIn. We're going to see a lot of posts and thoughts like that. I think that, the thought about mentorship has also evolved. Kristin, you and I probably have a different perspective on what that meant. I think for me, and again, I'm going to bring the diversity lens here, oftentimes women and people of color, first generation students who may be marginalized might not always have those connections in organizations the way others do, right? And so I think, Kristin and I, when we were in maybe workplaces, a lot of times they would be programs for women, right? There'd be mentoring programs for women so that women can connect with not just women, but with leaders in order for them to gain some of the sort of inside information. One of the reasons I became a coach was because I didn't see a lot of people, particularly women and people of color, have mentors or be able to connect with mentors or sponsors to give them that information. So I guess the reason I bring that up is that at different points in our lives, I have had mentors for different things. When I was in college, that was a very different need that I had than right now when I'm sort of in the philanthropy space, writing, teaching, doing a lot of other things. So I think it's also helpful to think about, like, what are some of the things I'm looking for? And Morgan touched on this, but for me, I have a funny story that I can tell you, that I was in an Uber car one night for 4 hours with the driver because the Amtrak train wasn't working. And he sent me a message the next day on LinkedIn saying, "Can you mentor me?" And I was thinking, on what? Like, I'm glad we had a great conversation in the Uber car, but like, on what, right? And one of my mentors, Carol Stern, once said something to me that I've never forgotten. She was really good when I was moving to DC at one point. She pulled out her, and this is going to age me, so don't laugh, just hold on. She pulled out her BlackBerry, okay? And she was going through it, and she said, "Wait a second." She said, "I don't know what your ask is." She said, "Are you asking for me to set you up on a date with someone? Are you asking for me to help you get a job, an apartment?" And it was just this moment of, I hadn't been clear on my ask. And I think as someone who's approached often to be a mentor or to do things, it's really helpful to know, and Morgan highlighted this, to know what your ask is. So I say that as someone who's often asked. And the guy who wanted me to be a mentor in the Uber car, I was very nice, but like, he was just interested in my career and what I did. That's very different than sort of a mentoring connection relationship.
Tanya, I love that you mentioned that about our mentors from a while back versus mentors today, because it prompted in my mind a couple things. One, and you guys alluded to it, at points in time in my career, I had certain mentors assigned to me. Like, to your point, this is for women. So Kristin, this is going to be your mentor, Julia, and you guys go have fun in this mentoring relationship. I'm pretty sure I can say with certainty that none of those assigned mentorships ever really amounted to anything other than we met our scheduled meetings. So very important for me, and throughout my entire career, the mentors to me are the ones that I networked with and I got to know, and it just clicked and worked. And those are the same people today, 10, 20, 30 years later, right? So that forced nature of it, I don't believe that ever works. And then the other thing for me, and the reason why the mentors that I've had for so long are probably still there, is because when they became my mentor, I truly respected the fact that I appreciated that they were such active listeners, as Morgan said, but we also created kind of a reverse mentoring relationship. And I think today, especially for you guys, you bring so much knowledge and experience and just relevant information about today that I know I would certainly benefit from in learning from you as well. So that reverse mentoring relationship, to me, the most important mentoring relationships for me were the ones where it was a two-way street. It wasn't just me mentoring someone because we did get on well and have a great relationship and I could provide value to them, but that also it was a two-way street, like I said. And so there's reciprocity in just mentoring in a different way. And, you know, reverse mentoring, you've heard that before. I think companies and people should really consider doing that a lot more judiciously today, because I know a lot of executives that still need to learn a whole lot from younger generations in the corporate world, and they're just kind of not getting it there. So I'm kind of an advocate for making sure that people that are ready, willing, and able to be your mentors, also you guys take a look at and make sure they're open-minded enough to be learning from you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. So as we move into our breakout rooms, before we do so, I want to bring up some points that were made to guide our conversation. So we talked a lot about specificity. So have some questions in mind. Think about, what do I want to be mentored on right now? What are some things that I need some help with? And so when we go into our breakout rooms, really be specific in that way to help our mentors. And if you're struggling to think in the moment, oh my goodness, what can I ask? Think about just starting a conversation. So some things that we could talk about is more in depth. What about mentorship? How do I get mentors? How do I sustain my mentor relationships? How could I become a mentor? How do I develop the skills to properly be one? And you can also ask things about leadership development. And you can also ask about college or careers, applying for jobs, wherever you are at your life. This group of panelists has been there at some point. So whatever is most salient in your minds at the moment, feel free to bring up and ask. And so I'm going to open the breakout rooms now. Bear with me. I apologize if they don't work. I have created them ahead of time, so I'm going to try my best. So it is open now, and I am going to assign you all that are here, and let me know if anyone gets lost.